This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
Don't be afraid to take the baby steps. It's another day, don't forget, 'cause just a prayer away. Don't give up now, trust the process and keep learning. And if you need a friend, we're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, together, together. We're in this together, 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 together as a family in faith and melody.
Hello, and welcome back, everyone. I'm Henry here in Germany, and this is INCRadio's Faith and Melody, where we have meaningful conversations and inspiring Iglesia ni Cristo original music. And also joining me today,
Yes, hello, Henry, and to everyone out there. This is Jay here in Australia. Looking forward to having you join us on today's episode of Faith and Melody, where we'll be having a conversation on how we handle stress and respond with calm. Because, some days can feel a little bit like a chaotic storm, right? With noise, pressure, and even stress coming from every direction. It's easy to feel shaken or pulled apart. But peace isn't about everything being perfect around us.
true calm is something we can carry within, even in the busiest or toughest moments. So today, let's talk about how to keep steady hearts and peaceful minds in the middle of the chaos. So let's now get the show started with the first song on our playlist, A Prayer. If you are watching Faith and Melody, please stay tuned with us.
Dear God, Father, please help me, hear me. Dear God, don't ever leave me. Help me to remain in your fold.
Dear God, I'm feeling lost and lonely. Dear God, I'm far away and I'm lonely. Help me to remain in your fold. Inside your Send to us a minister to teach us, who can lead us in our worship of your name. Guide me, hear me, help me to remain.
When I'm afraid, I know you can keep me safe. Help me stand tall, help me hold on to my faith. Guide me, hear me, help me. This I pray.
Give me patience to wait for you to act, courage
beg you, Father, guide me, hear me, help me. This I pray.
Help me, make me worthy as I wait.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. You are now tuned into INC Radio's Faith and Melody, where it is currently 12:08 a.m. there in our main studio in the Philippines. And where I am, it is actually 5:08 p.m. in Central European time. Later on the show, we're talking about how we stay grounded, handle stress with wisdom, and find calm that lasts. That and more on today's topic, calm in the chaos. But before we begin our live discussion, let's begin, as always, with our kickoff chat.
Our icebreaker is titled Life Transformed
Let us know if
Survival
it's something
Rate.
that you're willing to
Two
take
questions.
up as a
Kickoff
challenge.
chat.
So, the question that we're asking for today's kickoff chat is basically, when life feels chaotic and stressful or uncertain, do you snack, nap, or scroll? What do you do when you experience times when everything just feels a little bit chaotic in life? Let us know your thoughts, your experiences. Whether you're a snacker, someone who just likes to grab something to eat, do you go and take a rest, a lie down, or do you scroll on your phone, right? You just distract yourself with videos or social media or music, whatever it might be. Let us know there in our live chat. But Henry, for you, which type of person are you when life gets chaotic?
So the question is snack, nap, or scroll? Can we say
Yeah.
all of the above? Let's say all of the above. I think there's comes a point where when things are so chaotic that personally for me, I assess if I'm hungry. And whether I realize I'm hungry or not, I'll still grab a snack anyway. And then by the time I'm done with that snack, and I say the term snack loosely because snack sometimes can be with rice. So it's not really a snack, it's actually a meal disguised as a snack. And then I'll eat more than I need to, then I'll probably take a nap. And then when I wake up, try to wake myself up, I end up scrolling. So maybe all of the above,
Yeah.
really. What about you, Jay?
No, I think it's roughly the same, but probably a little bit different order. Like have a snack first. For me, it'll be coffee. Is coffee a snack? Right? You said about rice.
Yeah.
It's like a meal.
Snack.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So have like coffee because I don't know if you know, but coffee makes me sleepy, right? So it kind of like it calms my nerves, even though for some people it's quite the opposite when they drink coffee. But for me, it calms my nerves. It makes me a little bit sleepy. So have a lie down, take a nap. But usually when I lie down, I end up scrolling for a little bit, which then puts me to sleep, right? So I think I go snack, scroll, then nap. That's kind of like the order that happens for me when life is a little bit chaotic. You need to lie down a little bit. You need to eat something maybe and get your mind off things, right? So kind of like one of those things usually helps. But most of the time, it'd probably be more snacking. But let's say hello as well to our Ohana, our viewers there in live chat that might be saying hello to us. Henry, who do we have saying hello to us there in our live chat?
We have a stranger by the name of Rachel Inocencio. Greetings to all of our viewers tonight from the District of Central Europe, locale of Heidelberg. Everyone knows I'm just joking. That's not a stranger. That's my wife.
Not a stranger.
That's
Always
Kuya
here all the
Johan.
time supporting.
Yes, he's always supportive. Kuya Johan, in German, Johan. That's J is silent, so it's Johan. Guten Abend po, everyone. Hashtag Heidelberg Cluster, hashtag Central Europe. And there again is the Central Europe family helping in the midst of my own personal chaos. They are coming here to rescue. They're always supportive. So thank you to my Central Europe family, especially to my wife for always joining. But I want to hear your answer to my wife. What do you usually do? Oh, there, I see her answer already. She says she usually snacks on chips or desserts. Sometimes she takes a nap. And I agree with that. So when I see her doing that, then I know she's in the middle of chaos. So I just leave her alone.
No, no, not
Right.
always. It's probably just tired, right? Like sometimes you need a break. It's not always when things are chaotic, but usually it's one of those things that happens. What's considered as a nap? Like, what would you consider as a nap, Henry? Like, would it be like 15 minutes or would it be like an hour? Is that even a nap if you like slept for like an hour?
So I notice it's different per person and maybe even per region. To me, a nap is like a good hour. But I notice
Yeah.
everybody else is like a nap is like 15 minutes, 30 minutes. They don't want to go any longer than that. But I like a good hour. What about you?
I don't even set a time. Like if I need to have a nap, like I just lie down and then whenever I wake up, right? Uh, Usually if it's the middle of the day, I'm not going to end up sleeping for hours. Like unless you're like really really tired, then you probably need the sleep. Wouldn't you agree? Like if you end up falling asleep for 3 hours, then you're probably sleep deprived.
But
And
I've
you
never
probably
been in a situation where I've taken a nap because I usually would take a nap because I have something important coming up. And so if I don't set an alarm, and I've had this
oh
before, if I don't set the alarm, I would open my eyes and I realize how dark it is outside. Like, oh no, I forgot to do blank, and
I
there
guess
we go.
if you have an appointment coming up, you need to set an alarm. But if you don't, and it's just like a little break, you know, I'm pretty good at power napping. Like I don't need to set an alarm, but as soon as like I get that, that really quick doze off when you doze off in bed or like in the
Yes,
couch or something,
yes.
and you just really like it's a deep one, but it's a really quick one, right? And then you wake up, it's only been like 15 minutes, but you feel refreshed, 15, 20 minutes, and you feel refreshed already. Have you had that?
I can have power naps and still have a nice dream. And it feels like an hour passed by in my dream, but it was only 15 minutes. So I don't know what it is. And I've experienced that when we go on road trips because road trips are a new thing for me, right? In the past couple of years, I've never had a road trip before. And so when I get tired, I ask my wife, I got to pull over. I need to take a power nap. I
Mm.
wake up from my power nap. Only 15 minutes have gone by, but it feels like I was asleep for like an hour or
And
2 hours.
you're like all awake, right? You
I'm
feel
wide awake afterwards. So that power
refreshed.
nap was so deep, and that I can tell a story of what I dreamt about. Like all this transpired, and only 15 minutes of actual real time had passed.
Does Rachel do the same thing? Because I know with Jem, she can't power nap, right? It's like she needs a proper, like, good hour of sleep. Like a power nap, like when I consider is like a 15, 20 minute, like you doze off and you're actually in a deep sleep and then you wake up and you're refreshed. Yeah, she can't do that for some
So it
reason. She needs,
depends. It depends. For my wife, this is where she's gonna talk to me afterwards. But I'll share the light details. That there are times where she'll set an alarm for herself for a 15-minute power nap, and then when I like look at the time, I check up on her. She probably had pressed snooze like about 4 or 5 times, so it's not a power nap anymore. It took a little longer than that, but it depends. Sometimes she'll need only a 15-minute nap, and sometimes she'll need it longer. So no, I'll take care of the kids and feed them dinner, let her get the rest that she needs, and and I do the same thing. We take turns in that. Sometimes we just need a little power nap, a longer power nap than we had anticipated. So, but yeah. So to answer the question, I still do all of the above, but I think I nap longer than scrolling and snacking.
yeah. Well, it's one of those things, right? Snacking, taking a nap, scrolling, or maybe other things. That's going to come up, I'm pretty sure, in towards our actual topic discussion. So what we'll do, just to get the brain juices flowing for what we are about to talk about, we're going to wrap up our kickoff chat segment there. Thank you to everyone that participated and said hello. If you're still just tuned in, make sure you drop your comments and your greetings there in our live chat. We'll read it out when we come back. But so far, that's been today's kickoff chat.
INCRadio is live transform. Let us know if it's something that you're willing to take up as a
Kickoff chat.
So, before we dive into our topic conversation today, we're going to take a quick musical break. The next two INC original music that we'll be playing for you are titled Battle Cry, and the second song is titled Eternally. So, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
fallen comrades, time to get up. Those wounds will heal in time, you've rested enough. The battle's almost over, take up your sword. Fasten your war-torn armor and fight for the Lord. Can you hear the battle drum calling you, telling you, pushing you, do what you gotta do? Only when this war is done can we head home. Let your passion fill your face when we march into the battle. And let them hear, and let them feel your battle cry. They'll try to strike us down, don't let them take your ground. Let it resound, your battle cry. Keep fighting on, the Almighty makes us strong. This world will hear our battle cry. These hearts run deep within you when your heart bleeds for mercy. But you never fail because you hold the promise of victory. Yeah. Let God's Spirit fill you, give you hope, give you life. Stand up, defeat this world. Let them hear your battle cry. They'll try to strike us down. Don't let them take it down. Resound your battle cry. Keep fighting on, makes us strong. This world will hear our battle cry. They'll try to strike us down. Don't let them take your crown. Let it resound your battle cry. Keep fighting on. Your heart, it makes us strong. This world will hear our battle cry. To my fallen comrades, time to get up. Those wounds will heal in time, you've rested enough. The battle's almost over, take up your sword. Fasten your war-torn armor and fight for the Lord.
On my way to eternal life. I wanna live forever with God and His Son, my Savior Christ. His Son is coming on Judgment Day, and we will live forever. All those who have obeyed, but we must pass the trials that we will face, so that we can make it to the end of our race, and we'll receive the promised salvation, and we will be with God in His holy kingdom.
I'm waiting for that day to come, the return of God's begotten Son, the one whom God has sent to redeem us from the sins that we have done. And even with all the tribulations that we face, we endure the pain and continue to keep the faith. The ways that we walk, always say, when we talk, always stay righteous, and never, ever should we stop being the lights of this world, who shine brighter than the sun, that will make everyone see we're God's chosen ones.
God will take away all of our fears. There will be no more death, crime, pain, no tears.
All the old things will pass away, and in that holy land forever we shall stay.
God promised His life that'll last forever, so don't do anything that'll put us in danger.
Don't exchange our faith for worldly things. Follow God with all of our hearts, for salvation He brings.
Hold on to what you have learned. Keep it in your heart.
In each minute, he helps us realize just what we need to do. The duties he gave us, I promise to be true. Whenever dismay, our Father, him we shall obey. Every trial makes us stronger, we're tied in bonds and never stray. When we are feeling down, his presence always brings us up. Instilling deep within us his true and all abiding love. True peace we will always gain. When things go wrong, we don't complain. Pray to him to make us brave, steadfast, we shall remain.
We shall remain in his church. We stay true to his holy words. Every time we step into the chapel, we know what it's worth. Being knocked down truly makes us hurt, but we forget all our pain through the comfort of his words, and we're blessed when he wakes us up to the morning light. Teachings we believe and we keep them as our guiding light. Everything he taught us in our hearts are planted deep, cause we have the true faith which will eternally keep. This may be a race.
All the more we keep our pace.
Blessings unto us ashore.
With his light he makes us pure.
When knocked down we shall endure.
Don't be tempted, it's just the Lord.
With faith and love we're reassured
we won't be hurting anymore.
Now that our path is clear and straight,
trust our Father above to guide us to the Holy Land.
Getting rid of all the hate.
From all sin we separate. In the end we will be lifted up to that holy place.
Hold on to what you have learned. Keep it in your heart. Stand strong and firm. We are the ones who God will always love. And we promise that someday up above we'll live eternally. God's promise is true. We'll live eternally. We'll live forever. Our God has true everlasting love. We're really fortunate as INC. We keep all the trust in our God above. Forever we'll live happily. Hold on to what you have learned. Keep it in your heart. Stand strong and firm. We are the ones who God will always love. And we promise that someday up above we'll live eternally.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Jay and Henry here on INC Radio's Faith and Melody. And this is the beginning part of our topic on conversation today, where our discussion will lead us into the topic of calm in the chaos. Now, chaos, as we know, it's a part of life. We all experience it. Different seasons, doesn't come all at once, but generally, when life gets chaotic, we respond or react in different ways. So the way that we respond can make a difference between being overwhelmed and staying at peace. So, to kick off our conversation, join us if you're tuned in right now. Let us know your thoughts there in our live chat, or if you're watching the replay, write it down there in our comment section. But, Henry, for you, when you hear the word chaos, right, a chaotic life, like, or a chaotic moment in your life, like, what does chaos for you in your life, like, what does that look like?
So chaos to me looks like a confused person. So if you look at the facial expression of someone who is just confused, right? We're all trying to either accomplish something, trying to get somewhere, or become better at something. And so it becomes chaotic when something's in the way or it's just too much. So when you find someone who's confused or overwhelmed, they have a look of confusion because they hit a point of chaoticness that they cannot process what's going on anymore. They're blocked, they're hindered, they're at a standstill, they can't move. So chaoticness, like for example, if you visualize a lot of people, a huge crowd trying to go into a building, they all have this very same purpose. They're all trying to watch a concert. They're all trying to watch an event, attend a conference. But that's a controlled chaos because you have a lot of gates, you have a lot of doors that they're all lining up in to get in there. That's not chaos. That's organized chaos. It's under control. But imagine if all of those doors and all of those gates were closed, then it become chaotic because now they went all that way for nothing. They can't get to what they paid for. They worked so hard to watch their favorite artist, to attend that conference, to to join something big that they planned so long for. And so it just becomes chaotic for them because they can't get to the other side of that gate. It's overwhelming to someone they can't get to where they need to go. And in the other context of a person who has a lot of responsibilities, all of these short-term goals that they're trying to accomplish, they're blocked. So and they're overwhelmed because it's just too much for them. And so they're confused because they just don't know what to do. It's a lot of pressure in that situation, right, Jay? It's like everything all at once, right?
Right. Exactly. Like you're feeling stuck almost. I feel like I'm hearing you say like somebody's stuck because there's things getting in their way, right? Or things aren't working out for them. And
Exactly.
that's kind of like what I see as well when I experience a chaotic moment is like you had plans, you had expectations of how things are going to be or how you expect things to play out, but then it doesn't work out that way. And you can't figure out why and you can't see the reason why. And it becomes frustrating, annoying, right? Generally, a lot of emotions come up, and generally, a lot of heightened emotions that don't do much good, right? In terms of stress, because you start feeling pressure, and it's like everything's coming at you all at once. Like, I'm sure there's been moments that we've all experienced where we expected things to work out as we had planned, but then they don't. And so but then things are still getting demanded from us. We still have to be making, taking action, working towards that goal, but nothing's working out, right? And because of that, it doesn't feel like when I hear the word chaos, or and I think moments when life felt chaotic, there was a lot of it seemed messy, unorganized, right? Life is kind of like everything seems unorganized, and you don't know what to focus on. So there's lost focus as well. So it's a very frustrating time when, because like we get busy, right? So one thing I think I want to point out as well is that we all have moments when we're busy, and that's fine. But I think chaos is something above that. It's busy without what's the right word here, Henry? It's like
Busy
it's
without
busy
control.
without control, right? It's out of control. That's it, right? When things are out of control, that's pretty chaotic, right? So when that happens, it generally tension gets high, pressure gets high, and most of the time, as human beings, it's normal that we have an initial reaction when we feel pressure, we feel things are getting out of control or chaotic. So, what's your reaction, Henry? And for our viewers, like, let us know. How do you usually react when the pressure gets too much? Like, some people they explode, right? They shut down, or they actually it works for them and they just power through. Like it's different for each person, and each person handles an uncontrollable or a chaotic situation differently. So for you, Henry, in your experiences, right? I'm sure it would have changed when you were like, if you look back 10 years ago to like to now. I'm sure you would have handled a chaotic moment differently. But how do you usually react when you experience, times when the pressure gets too much?
So I'm gonna reference my IT career to answer this question because I like pressure nowadays. I like when things get intense, when things break, because as an IT person, that's when you're able to get your gears spinning in your head to solve the problem. However, I cannot say I enjoyed it 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago when all this pressure would come in, whether it be from a homework assignment that I forgot to turn in, or it be I'm running late for that class. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get detention, or I'm late to submit a bill payment. Oh no, my credit score is going to go down. I'm going to get fined. All these things would cause a lot of pressure because I have just too many responsibilities, and so it becomes chaotic. What happens to me? I freeze. I panic. I
Mm,
I don't know how to process what's going on. It just becomes overwhelming. So do I explode? Do I shut down? Do I power through? It depends on the situation. Um, I've never exploded personally. I really just I probably shut down initially. I'll reference this more later, but it's pretty much like for a baby who gets overwhelmed. Infants, newborns, when they get overstimulated, they just start to cry and to just go crazy. So for me, in my opinion, I think adults kind of have a similar thing when they get overwhelmed, overstimulated. We can tend to shut down ourselves, right? We just need to distance ourselves. We need to get away from what's stimulating us. And some things I will power through, but I think powering through comes with experience. Like for example, playing basketball. Few seconds left on the clock. You don't want to lose. So what do you want to do in that high
There's
pressure
pressure
situation?
there. A few
There's
seconds
a lot
left
of
on the
pressure,
clock.
right? And so what do we say? We always yell at the name of our favorite basketball player as the countdown goes 3, 2, 1. You throw the ball in the air. You want to win in that fashion because it's a high pressure situation that if the ball goes through the net, you have something to celebrate. And it's those high pressure situations that really molds you to become a better player. And the more you go through those situations where there's a lot of pressure, pressure makes diamonds. Pressure can cause you to evolve, to change for the better. And so, certain situations. What was that, Jay?
No, no, yeah, no, keep going, keep going.
Yeah. So basically, those situations, it just helps you to grow. It just helps you to how to experience high pressure situations that when you continually face them in life or in other games or in other your favorite sports, your favorite board games, your favorite anything, public speaking, presentation, those high pressure situations, you learn to deal with it. You become stronger. You're able to do public speaking. You're able to play basketball games. You're able to muscle through so many things that you become adult, you become a mentor, you become a confidant, you become someone that people can rely on because you've been through all these multi-dimensional experiences that you know how to react when life throws something chaotic at you. Right, Jay? I
Yeah.
mean, it's like you can choose at times you're not able to choose, but you go through enough experience, you can actually choose how to react.
Yeah, I mean, it's the experience is definitely very important to note, right? The more times that you go through a high pressure moment, I like that example. I don't play basketball myself, but I get it. I've watched a lot of basketball games, especially we have seasons throughout the year where we have unity games, and everyone is cheering for their favorite team. And basically, when it comes to basketball, those high pressure moments is really what gets you, right? Because you are pushing yourself to perform and get the goal, right? Reach the goal that you want or get the basket in basketball, right? And it's because you want to win. So it's very yeah, it's got a lot of demand on you, and then I guess all the uncertainty of like if I take this shot, if I don't make it, like I'm letting a lot of people down, right? You're letting your team down. When you're talking about life in general, right? When you're facing high pressure moments in life, that's going to affect another person or your family or your future, right? When because you have to make a decision, and this decision you don't know what the outcome is going to be, but when you make it, it's gonna make you choose one or the other, and you don't know what the final result's going to be. So there's a lot of pressure there. It's like, am I making the right choice? What if I regret it? I think regret is another factor that makes people like really freeze up in making the choice, because what if they regret on making the wrong choice or making the right and making an incorrect one, all of those things, because you have uncertainty when it comes to making choices and decisions. So for me, in the past, when I was looking back, right, I was more the type that shut down, right? When I'm faced when the pressure gets too much and it gets too intense and the uncertainty is next level, um, I would shut down. And sometimes when the stress has a lot of heightened emotions attached to it, generally like anger, frustration, right? It tends to make me snap at the wrong people. You know, might hurt relationships because you're I didn't explode, but basically just your tone changes and the way that you would reply back doesn't come across as polite, if you know what I mean. So I've learned that high pressure situation that's uncontrolled and you're unexperienced in handling it can basically bring out areas where you're not as good at or your weak points, right? When it comes to, I guess, maintaining relationships and that sort of thing. So I learned from that. I think that's the important thing is that you need to learn from these situations. It's normal. I think is what I'm trying to say is that it's normal that pressure gets us feeling anxious and worried and feeling uncertain with how our future is going to be, but it's normal to get to the next stage. It's normal to go through those experiences and learn from it, right? So recently I am able to handle pressure and uncertainty with more peace, with more calm, with more of a cool head, right? And a more clear mind. You know what I always refer to, and I think this is what one of the things that inspired me on being able to handle high pressure situations, Henry. I've always wanted to you know, frontliners, people who first responders who have to
Yes.
deal with like an emergency or if
Yeah.
there's like an accident or like a calamity or something like that. They're the first ones on the scene. They're getting things organized. They're keeping people calm. They're getting people moved to the right place and they're efficient, right? In such a stressful situation. Like I would used to freeze up. Right? I would used to not know what to do. And I didn't like that. And I realized that. And I wanted to change it. So I wanted to be more aware of how I reacted and how my brain was moving. Like my brain would be moving at like 100 miles an hour, but then even though we don't use miles here in Australia, 100 kilometers an
Okay.
hour. But then basically, I just couldn't make a decision, and I would have what is it? Decision paralysis or
Analysis paralysis.
exactly. There's like so much going on. But now, I guess the more times that you experience it, right? I think that's why experience is one of the best teachers, is that you get to practice what you want to try and be and make the changes along the way. So it's not like we went through, like, you know, Henry and I, we didn't go through like one or two or three. Like we went through many different experiences to be able to handle pressure a lot more effectively and chaotic moment to bring an unorganized moment to make it more organized, right? So I think now I handle it better. I can power through it. Sometimes I can even say that pressure makes me perform better. I don't know about you, Henry, but I'd probably say now that there's certain types of pressure that makes me actually perform and exceed, like go beyond what my performance is because of pressure. And if I didn't have that extra pressure in there, if I didn't have that extra stress, I don't think I would have reached another level of my performance. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Have you experienced
definitely.
that?
Totally agree. So, uh, the professional term is getting thrown into the fire. And so the only way to learn something sometimes is just really just doing it, right? Um, but before I expand on that, because just you mentioned something, I immediately pictured myself when I was 6 years old. We were getting ready for school with my family. My two brothers and my mom was there. She brings us to work every morning. We were having breakfast or about to have breakfast. There's something in the toaster, and something happened. The toaster caught fire. So there was a nice big flame on the toaster. I was 6 years old, but I still remember this. That I was just like, ah! I was just screaming, looking at the toaster, and my brothers
As
didn't know
you
what to
would,
do
yeah.
either. So my mom, she was very clear-minded, because she's the boss at that time. She knew what to do. She had the clear mind to grab a towel and just throw it over the toaster to cut off the oxygen and kill the fire. And so I remember that day. Even this was probably more than 30 years ago. I can say that I don't like to be stuck like that. That was a situation that, if I'm a parent now, if there's a fire, I can't just stand there and go, ah, and not do
Yeah.
anything. I have to respond. And so, and we've been in those situations where we've had a little small thing in the house where I'd have to, like a rat or something scary in the house, or a big spider, flying cockroach, anything that probably just scares everyone. I had to be the one to respond. And in those types of situations of pressure, because others are afraid of something, um, when you start to analyze your individual reaction to it, you learn to control that reaction. So the more experience you have on unplanned circumstances, situations, uh, even like traffic or car accidents. Though these accidents were not my fault, I'll say there are just situations that you did not foresee. You go through enough of them. High pressure, computer breaks down in the middle of an important conference. You start to activate the gears in your head to try to solve the problem. And so you
Mm.
become a lot more constructive. And like Kuyarad is saying, we go through certain situations for a reason. And shout out to Kuyarad. Thanks for joining us. It's like you're put through these situations, and we'll talk about this more later. It just helps you. It really just helps you. You go through, you get forged through fire. Um, and I think that is what makes these uh, situations different when you power through them. That it's almost like lifting a weight. You're lifting a heavy weight. You lift that weight enough times, your bicep will start to, you have something to flex, right? You get stronger, Dave.
You get accustomed to the weight, right? Like the more that you put yourself in that environment, the more that you get accustomed to it and you build up on it. Like I just remembered as well, since you mentioned about animals in your house, like we had a bat that came into our house one time. It was flying around the living room. We froze because we were really, I can't remember even what age we were, but definitely one of the lower digit numbers, right? Like we had no idea what to do. We're just waiting for our parents to come back home. This bat was just flying around the living room. It was great. It was funny. But basically, it's kind of like what you said. The more that you are able to experience that, the more you are able to control your emotions and your actions. And you can think clearer the more times that you experience it. So that's why I think like a lot of high pressure situations, it's easier for like first responders because they get trained to experience it and it becomes normal, like just like breathing for them, right? It's to them it's nothing stressful. It doesn't elevate your levels, and you don't start like that whole experience that they say where it's like you see the situation but it's outside your body, like almost like third person, because you're just like you're not moving. So there's that, right? So definitely pressure can definitely help with the more times that you experience it, it becomes something akin to being a normal state, right? But with that, like, let's say hello to our live chat. I see a lot of comments there and a few other greetings we want to say hello. So, Henry, what have we got from our Ohana in live chat?
So let's see. A lot of messages from Clear Rod. I am going to start from his first one. Uh, he says pressure is fun sometimes, and I totally agree. IT world, pressure is fun because that's your job is pressure, responding to pressure. And when he hears high pressure, he thinks of washing his car. Pressure helps clean things up that may weigh us down. Will shine once we get through that pressure. That's a great analogy because high pressure water on any surface, floor, your car, it just gets the dirt out and it just increases the value of whatever the pressure is placed on. And the two acronyms that he had placed for us is pressure, prayer really ensures strength. So ups and downs, ready every time. I'm going to compare these two. Which one's better? Proving rough experiences strengthens self uniquely, righteously enduring. I like the second one better.
I like the first one better. I like the first one better, but they're both good.
They're both good. They're both good. But I just like the ending of that, righteously enduring. That's a good way to end it. We go through. You said that earlier. We go through certain situations for a reason. Sink or swim. I use the analogy fight or flight, which is basically the same thing. It's either you're
Yes,
gonna
yes.
succeed. Yep. I look at all these experiences and high pressure situations as practice. Practice so that when we really, really need to react and respond with purpose, we'll be ready. So practice and train always. And I'm going to reference the military for this because that's so true. You go through all these exercises, they have so many drills, so many different types of real world sounding exercises that when the actual thing happens, they don't hesitate. There's no time to pause and think about it. It's a reflex as to how they're going to respond to these high pressure situations. So definitely, a high pressure, even if it's a simulation, it trains you. So in everyday life, the more pressure situations we go through, the more we're trained for the bigger thing that is to come, Jay.
So, I mean, like we've talked about like the importance that pressure is also a great learning tool, right? It teaches us, it helps us to gain experience, it helps us to gain new skills and be able to control like our actions, our thoughts, our emotions, all of those things so that when we deal with an even more serious, stressful or chaotic situation, we can be a bit more calmer, right? When we're faced with that. That's why that's important. So, speaking of that, what then helps you stay calm, right? Like, especially now, or even when you first started working on improving yourself when you're faced with stressful situations, deadlines, responding to something or trying to put a fire out that happened all of a sudden. One really quick one that I'm hearing a lot of in the news right now are phone batteries. Those battery packs that you can bring around, right? For your mobile phone to charge your mobile phone, right? Those battery packs, like they're catching fire, especially like on airplanes and things like that. And it's like if that happens to you right now, are you going to be like, ah, like just screaming about it, or do you know the action to take, right? Because it's not something that you experience every single day. You probably haven't seen it yourself. But it's kind of like one of those moments where like you got to think quickly because it can cause harm to other people around you or even to the things around. So it's kind of like those moments when you need to be able to think quickly but also calmly. So what's your way to do that, Henry? Like, what's one small thing that helps you to stay calm when you're faced with a chaotic moment?
So I like to reference my line of work because every day can be chaotic, right? So there's multiple types of situation that can present pressure and chaos, but let's say in a work setting, in my line of work, if something is down, then it stops the business from running. It can potentially stop equipment from running. It can potentially even cause harm because certain devices require electricity. It requires connections to the network. It requires function for other people rely on the functioning of their internet connection. So how do I stay calm in that? First, and I mean this, I take a sip of coffee or I drink a little bit of water because one thing, you cannot respond impulsively to these situations. You have to find a way to take a logical breather. And so while someone sees me taking a sip of coffee, I'm already processing what's going on. I'm assessing the situation. I use that 10 seconds of taking a sip of coffee or water or even a snack of whatever candy bar I have at that time to, okay, because you have to identify the problem first, right? Before you can solve any problem, you have to know what problem you're facing. So it does take some time to pause, to kind of assess what's happening and what needs to be done to get this solved. Sometimes these problems are repetitive, and so it doesn't require much thinking at all. You already had a solution from the day before or the week before, and sometimes these problems other people have experienced themselves, so you can reference that. So one thing that keeps me calm is really just taking my time and to not respond emotionally. Because one thing that pressure does to everyone is it inflicts emotion. Like, and you reference firefighters, you reference emergency responders. They're not emergency panickers, right? They're they don't respond with pure emotion. They have to
Yeah.
respond with a plan.
Can you
So
imagine though, like if a firefighter comes up to a fire and they're just panicking, right? They have no plan. If they're just panicking, you wouldn't want that type of firefighter to show up at your house.
exactly. So I mean, what kind of calmness would I have? Calm in that chaos. I have not calm if my first responder is not responding. So I just stay calm in my line of work, especially is to generate my plan of attack to resolve the issue, but by first trying to remember to breathe, just as Kuya is saying. You have to breathe. You have to maintain your composure. And because any type of composure that is not calm is going to add more fuel to the fire, more chaos, much more multiplied chaos than you'd anticipate. And one thing I also, even in the midst of chaos, I can still stay calm because I know that I'm going through this and there's something to gain from it. In the middle of that chaos, after it succeeds, I'll be like, this is going to be great because I have so much experience in things breaking that even after it's fixed, like, oh, that was a great learning experience, Jay.
Yeah, and it like if you're panicking during a stressful situation or a chaotic time, it doesn't place a level of confidence to the people around you that you're confident that you can handle it, right? If you're panicking, if you're screaming, right, you need to be able to also pass on a certain level of calm and confidence to the people around you because you are also affecting your environment. That's one thing that I've noticed. So one thing that helps you. So you said about taking time to drink, sip on some coffee, right? That helps you to give you that moment. I think that's very important. Like not the coffee itself per se, but basically giving. I like coffee too, so that's what I do as well, Henry. I drink coffee because that gives me just as long as you give yourself a moment to calm down, like and take a well. That's probably not. They always say like don't tell a panicking person to calm down. It's probably the worst thing to say. Have you heard that? Um,
Yeah.
so you just need to give yourself a moment to breathe and then take a moment to process what's happening. And I like that approach. I'm also a logical thinker when it comes to problem solving, is that I either do it in my head or I write on a piece of paper or I like my spreadsheets and I work things out and try and find what the next steps are, right? So if it's something that you're doing that's happening to you right now, you're always like thinking about it, but you also need to give yourself a break. So especially for those who are going through something that is chaotic and it's something that's lasting longer than a moment, right? It's lasting. There's people out there, and I know I've experiences about future before as well. Like I wasn't sure where like life was headed. Didn't my contract at work didn't get renewed? Nothing was holding me down, so I thought I had to take another direction, and all of these things where there's a certain level of uncertainty, and you don't know what the next best step is. You need to give yourself a moment to breathe, but most importantly, to pray, right? To pray and to ask God for guidance. That's very, very important because most of those times, and just when we're talking about chaos, it's unorganized. You don't know what to do, you don't know what to focus on. So you need guidance. And the best place where you can get that is from our Almighty God. So that's why for us, as Christians, we take that moment to also pray, say a short prayer, and to ask for guidance, ask for peace, for making the best choice, making the right choice, and helping us through those situations. Because it's true that your initial reaction is not always the right one, right, when it comes to responding. So first responders are there. They follow a certain procedure. They train on it and they practice. But if you're in the middle of chaos and it's your first time experiencing that, then the best thing to do is avoid reacting immediately and take a moment to analyze and take a breather. And I think prayer helps you get that groundingness, right? We talk about being grounded when you want to bring a sense of calm to your psyche, to your mental state. Take a moment to breathe and stay calm, whether it's through coffee and prayer or eating something or taking a nap, right? Taking a power nap, whatever it might be. You just need something to give you a moment to process the information and analyze it, and then ask guidance through prayer. I think that's very important. Let's go ahead and read any final comments there before we move on to a quick musical break before we continue with our discussion. So, any new comments there, Henry?
Kuya Rod answers the question about what he does to stay calm in the middle of chaos, trying to remember to breathe. And as simple as that sounds, sometimes we forget to breathe. I've seen
Yeah.
people in the middle of chaos and panic situation that they forget to inhale and exhale. And there are some people who need that paper bag and who just needs to inhale and exhale because they're in a state of panic. And so breathe in and out, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. And it sounds so cliche, but it's very true. Stay calm and pray is also what Kuya is saying. And like you said earlier, Jay, the emotion that we have, if not controlled and practiced enough, it can really be overtaken. And we're going to talk about that in our next segment when chaos and stress overtake us. there are times where it comes a lot stronger than we anticipate. And so we can talk about that in our next segment. But before we do, we're going to go on a quick musical break. Listen to one song. The title of the song we'll be listening to is Guide Me. So please stay tuned with us here on Faith and Melody.
This is INC Radio, DZEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.
This week on Faith and Melody. Tuesday, Calm in the Chaos. Wednesday, Reliance and Certainty. Thursday, Immeasurable Gifts. Friday, Truth in Thoughts and Actions with Brother Philip Velasquez. Tune in to INC Radio YouTube channel Tuesday to Friday, 12 a.m. Philippines, or Monday to Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific. Be uplifted with inspiring conversations and INC original music. You are Ohana on Faith and Melody.
So imagine yourself, you are on your way to a very important event. You're driving on the road. It's pretty congested on the road, a lot of traffic. And then you hear an alert on your phone saying there was a major accident. You can't move. Your car is at a standstill. And you're there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You know you're going to be late for that event, and you know you're not going to make it. That's a very important thing. So that's a chaotic situation where you have no control over and you won't be able to move. A similar situation, the train is late. The train is canceled. How are you going to get there? Can you find peace in that situation? Now, peace doesn't mean the chaos disappears. It just means that we know how to center ourselves in it. So, the question we're asking next is, in what you've experienced, what happens when chaos and stress takes control? I mean, I can imagine myself in that situation where I have to go somewhere. I really need to be there. It's a very important day. And to find out I can't proceed, I can't get to the next, to that event, you feel an overwhelming sense of confusion, stress, uncertainty. How would you feel, Jay, in that type of situation where that, does stress take control over you?
Yeah, it's happened before. I'm sure it's happened to all of us. It's the stress or the chaos and all the frustration kind of like takes its toll. And I feel in my experience that everyone has a certain limit on how much you can handle, right? There's a certain limit, and for most, maybe they don't hit that limit, and for others, that limit grows over time. So when it was smaller, your stress flows out, right? And so the thing is, like what I mentioned earlier, it does affect your emotions. It does affect your mental state and your way of thinking, the way that you speak, what you say, and all of those things can be dangerous because you can also harm relationships. Because if you are in a frustrated situation, it's very hard for you to see and to reply back in a kind, caring way, right? Especially when those heightened emotions take over. So, what I've experienced happen, especially when you're experiencing high levels of stress, you got deadlines to face, you're worried about how you're going to pay the bill that's coming up, you've got schedules and all these other things, and you have to get here, there, and everywhere, like everything's coming at you all at once, is that because it affects you and your mental state and just everything in general, it affects other people as well around you because it gets affected, right? One of our friends actually shared this with us because we were talking about it as well in the past. And the thing is, she's a mental health coach, and she mentioned that when it comes to emotions, you have to realize that emotions is energy in motion. So when you're feeling happy, you'll see it in your body language, in your thoughts, in everything, in your face, facial expressions. But when you're feeling sad, you're feeling angry, frustrated, and all those negative things as well, you'll also see that. And the thing is, because it's energy in motion, other people will feel it. That's why, as parents, right, we've learned that how we react to our kids, especially in their formative years, when they're younger, right? They pick up on our emotions and how we're feeling, even though we're trying to hide it, right? We're trying to hide that we're frustrated or tired or just, we're overwhelmed and things like that with things happening in life, like we try to hide it, but then the energy is there and they feel it. Have you ever walked into a room when two people are arguing and they're giving each other the silent treatment? It's like you already know that something is up, even though they don't say anything and they're quiet, right? You can feel like the air is heavier. Like you feel the room as soon as you step in. It's like, oh, what's going on here, right? Because you can tell there's something different, and I think it's the same thing with children, right? So I think it's the same thing with the people around us. It affects us in a way that we give off that vibe. We give off that energy. I feel like Henry, you've never had that experience before. Yes,
Oh,
no?
what makes you say that? I'm curious.
I don't know. You just seem like always, always happy. And you always say that you never really exploded or things like that. You said that earlier, right? So I feel like you've never had it. So you're like, even because it's different for each people, but I feel like you have more control of how you respond and just everything in general. Is
Yeah.
that right? It's an assumption. I'm just assuming.
No, I'm not being defensive. I'm just trying to understand. I'm not offended. I'm
You
not
give
being
off that
defensive.
vibe. You give off that vibe that you're grounded pretty much most of the time. And yeah, anyway, that's just like the vibe that you give off, especially when you're on air. But it's different for situations, right? We might come off as happy and cheerful, but we know that we all go through our own stress, and there's a certain limit that we can reach, and once we pass that limit, it really starts to show. And it's human nature, right? It's human nature that we feel these emotions. And the thing is, it affects, not only does it affect our mental state and like the vibe or the energy that we give off, right? But also it affects our own internal health too. So I mentioned that I like stress. I like pressure sometimes. Working under pressure helps me to go beyond my capabilities. But there are also certain times when it's prolonged, right? When the pressure and the stress and the uncertainty and the worry and all of those things gets prolonged long enough, right? And maybe the situation and it doesn't seem like there's an end in sight. Things are getting actually worse than better, right? And you start seeing that day after day after day. You can only take so much, right? And you reach a breaking point, and it can affect your health when you experience it for too long. So that's why even when we were talking about when it comes to pressure or even like when building muscle, like you want to be able to lift a heavier weight, there's this thing that they call time, holding that weight under tension, right? And then you can hold it for a certain period of time, but you can't hold it forever because that weight can become heavy. Like even if you try to hold something light, like half a kilogram, right? That's like anyone can hold that. But if I tell you to hold that for the whole day, your arm's going to get tired, right? And you're going to get weak, and you're going to eventually your arm's going to drop it because it's going to be too much. So no matter what it is, it becomes too much for us to handle if it's prolonged for over a long period of time. And they all say, we hear it from doctors, we hear it from everyone, and even we've got programs here on INCRadio, Health Matters, that talks about that there are dangers to prolonged levels of stress and chaos and uncertainty, all those pressure that gets built up, and it's not good for your health as well. So not only does it affect internally your health, but it can also affect the health of your relationships because of like the vibe and the energy and just how you change when you're communicating with other people. So that's danger. There's always like two sides to everything, right? So I think that's like the dangers when it comes to stress and chaos. But what have you experienced, Henry? Like I said, that was just my assumption that you seem to be more in control with stressful situations, but I'm sure you
So
built up to it.
that's a compliment because I will say that it's a product of the environment I came from. I'm an island boy, so I came from the islands where you're really stuck in the middle of nowhere, and whatever happens there, you we kind of like it's not surrender, but it's more like why stress about it? You learn to start to uh, let the pressure flow not directly at point blank or through you, but just let it flow around you so that
Mm.
you let the pressure off. It might just be an island thing. I don't know. But I'm more surprised and thankful you said that. I want to give that vibe off. So, but anyway, back to the question about what happens in chaos and stress takes control. I like to use the baby analogy, the infant analogy, is that as parents, infants, newborns, when they're overstimulated. Even if they're laughing, even if they're happy, we try to do funny faces, close open, all the things you can think of to make a baby learn the new world. But it comes to a point where they get overstimulated and they just start to cry. They just start to even scream sometimes. And so, in those moments when an infant is overstimulated, what do you do? As parents, we are trained by certain professionals and our pediatricians to take the baby out of that stressful situation for them. Bring them to a room with not so much light so that they can start to calm their bodies down to a familiar and peaceful environment. So when chaos and stress take control over the infant, as caretakers, as parents, we need to have a plan to keep them calm, even help them to go to sleep. And so that's something that we're trained on to help them to regain control. And that leads us to our next question. Who or what helps you calm down when things feel out of control? As parents, we can help the infant regain that control. But what about for ourselves? Do you know what to do when you are in that chaotic moment and you want to regain that control over yourself and to be able to respond positively, effectively to that situation? So, again, the question is who or what helps you calm down when things feel out of control? Let's start with you, Jay.
Let me just quickly say hello to Brian Torres, that's there in our chat, that just greeted us, saying happy listening from Washington, D.C. And he would like to greet his beautiful wife, Roseanne, and their smart daughter, Winley. And also Lani, that's greeting us there in our live chat. Happy Monday, Tuesday, Faith and Melody Ohana. Rod also shared with us earlier. I think we read some of this, but let me just read it again. He says, I believe it's all on how we choose to respond when we're talking about calming the chaos. Choose to create moments that will be awesome for us because when we do, people around us will also benefit. And he's got an acronym here for calming the chaos, which is creating awesome life moments in navigating through hectic events can help and offer serenity. I like that one. That one, I like that acronym. And he also added, Rod also shared that stress is unhealthy. Definitely, like it's something they say, like one of the leading causes of degenerative diseases, right? Is the stress that we feel because like you get stress in every part of life, right? In every part of life, especially at work, deadlines, and all these other things, worrying about other people that you care about. It's just there. So in terms of calming down, like the who or what that helps me calm down when things are feeling chaotic or feeling out of control. Before, right, especially when I was just by myself, before I was married. Most importantly, for all of us Church of Christ members, we have our Almighty God, right? One of the things that my parents instilled in me, especially growing up, is that no matter where you are, even when you feel that you're alone, don't forget that you have our Almighty God that we can pray to, that you can just, render a prayer and ask for help, ask for guidance, and just like basically speak out and just let Him know your troubles, right? When you're going through difficulties and things that you don't know what to do and you don't know the outcome and you don't know the next step that you need to take for your future or what your future might be, right? Like my parents always told me that it's important that you always remember that even though we may not be there or anyone else, it's like you have you have God to always pray to, right? So I think that's one of those number one places that we go to first when it feels when things feels out of control. I always pray, right? When I experience really life challenging moments, that I always turn to God first to ask for like that hope, that answer, the guidance, the thing that the next best step that I'm supposed to take. It's like just to give you like some direction on that, because that's one of the things when you're feeling a chaotic time in your life, you have no sense of direction, right? Everything just seems like the wrong way, and you don't know which way is up, which way is down, and all that. So praying to our Almighty God is definitely very, very important in getting you out of that situation. The next part is also the people that God has put in your life. Like they're also blessings, right? Your friends, your loved ones, your close confidants, as some people would call them, right? Your trusted circle. whatever it might be. For me, it's my wife, right? She was definitely a blessing from God. She's a gem. That's why her name is Gem. And she's my gem. And basically, whenever there's something that is uncertain for me, not only do we pray together, but I also am able to confide with a loved one, with my wife. And because the thing that I've learned is when you hold it in and you keep it all in and you don't speak it out and you don't let, God know, you don't let anyone know, and you just keep it to yourself, you sweep it under the rug, right? That saying. It's like holding in and waiting for a bomb to explode, right? And you never know when. One little nudge can make it go off, right? It's not even one big thing. It can be one little thing because it's just a buildup over time, right? You think one little thing, once you don't deal with it, it starts nagging at you from the back of your subconscious, right? It's just like there, and it's like gnawing at you, and then something else comes up and you put it in the back of your head and something else comes up, and then all of a sudden, 1 year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, it just all comes flooding out and at the wrong person, and it could ruin that relationship. So you have to be careful with that. So that's why it's very important that you have someone to be able to speak to, right? So the people around you, but most importantly, don't forget that you can also speak to God and ask for guidance. And the thing is, He puts people in our lives, right? God puts the people around us. For me, also, is the people that I found here on INCRadio, on Faith and Melody, on the Ohana live chat. We all went through a stressful situation and a chaotic, uncertain moment when the pandemic came and the lockdowns came, and we were all confined to our homes. We all had to work from home. We all couldn't see our family, and all of those things was a very stressful, chaotic moment that nobody expected. But I think during that time, I was able to find not only this program, not only Faith and Melody, but also the Ohana here. We've got some people that has been joining us since I started tuning in, right? Shout out to Kuya Rod Kahayag that's there. He's been there since the start that I've started listening to Faith and Melody. And now, we're here talking and having our own experiences and moments to be able to share with others. So, yeah, hopefully our viewers there, I see a couple more comments coming up, but hopefully people who tune in, who are listening to this conversation, are also being able to find the words and be able to find some guidance out of this, because it's just this. It's like the family that we build up here. The reason why we call our live chat viewers Ohana is because they're family, right? Not only does like the show kind of like has inspiration from Hawaii, but Ohana means family, right? And it's like us being able to share moments like this and being a little bit vulnerable with our, friends and family that tune in with us here, which is what we really love. But yeah, that's it for me. It's like the people around your close loved ones. Me, it's Jem, and of course we have God that we can always pray to. For you, Henry, like, is there anything else, that person or something that helps you calm down when things are feeling out of control?
And so sometimes I realize, excuse me, sometimes I realize that we don't need to have the answer immediately at that moment. Sometimes a little bit of time needs to pass, and we can find clarity really in just listening to God's words. God's words are always timeless. So when we have those opportunities in the worship service, when we are receiving the words that we need to hear, sometimes we can find the solution as we are receiving these reminders, these admonitions, these commandments, these guidance, these things that we hear can provide us as we leave the house of worship a way to solve the problem, a way to approach the problem. It may not be like a direct answer, but at least you'll have the clarity in your mind. You won't have a chaotic mind. You won't have a unstable heart. You'll be able to have that clarity, because chaos causes confusion. It causes stress. But when you have God, as you mentioned earlier, when you pray to Him, more so when you receive His guidance in worship services, you come out with clarity and you come out with strength. You come out with hope. You come out with faith. And that you're able, with God's help and God's support and God's guidance, regain control of yourself first and be able to attack the situation. And maybe you'll find calm in that chaos, just like the title of our our broadcast today. We need calm in the chaos to be able to regain control and to make us to be able to support our families, to lead our families, to accomplish all the tasks that we need to do, to serve and worship our Almighty God. And so we can find that calm and clarity through God's words. I think that's what we need to take from this, that no matter what we experience, that we can find peace, we can find that serenity that we're looking for. And all we want from any type of chaotic situation is to find clarity, to remove the fog, remove anything that is preventing us to get to our destination, so that we can continue to live our lives. Because there are a lot of things that we sometimes we take for granted. We get into a routine, and then something, a life event, some tragedies happen. It really knocks us off our feet sometimes. Heartbreak, grief, sorrow, all of these things can really put us into a chaotic situation. So finding your grounding again and not losing a sense of who you are, remembering that we're members of the Church of Christ, that no matter what happens, we continue to serve our Almighty God. And we always remain thankful, especially at this time of the year, members of the Church of Christ. We are all the more thankful as we come to the close of the year and preparing for our Thanksgiving. And so we're going to proceed to our next segment. But before we do, are there any other last comments that we can read, Jay?
Yeah, there's a few here, a few greetings as well. So let me just read them out really quickly. So we have over there, we've got Brian Torres that's tuned in, Lani as well. Mario Calvello is tuned in with us, saying happy viewing po from brethren from Central Europe. Greetings for everyone. We also got Chanel Amo is there, saying happy viewing from Frankfurt. So thank you for tuning in. And we've also got a hello from Sister Jennifer Trinidad, locale of Long Beach, Orange County, California. So thank you to everyone that's tuning in there. We've got a few comments as well, Henry, that's here. So we mentioned about Brian mentioning about delicious food calms me down, especially the food for our souls. And he also says that we've also got Des Asena saying faith and melody helps her to calm down. And she says here, I prefer to sit quietly. Let me just find that. I prefer to sit quietly or go out and distract myself. Talking to other people or strangers can also help distract me. So some distractions are important. That's why earlier we asked, when you have a chaotic moment, do you snack, nap, or what was the last one? Snack. I'm thinking snack, nap, or scroll, like just scrolling on video and social media and whatnot. Now we've got a few other comments there in chat. I'm just trying to find it. Rod shares with us, my positive take and spin on stress is this, and he's given us the acronym, smiling tremendously, regardless experiencing some stress. And he also agrees that food can help overcome stress, and food faithfully overcoming overwhelming disastrous stress. So I like those reminders, those acronyms from Rod. But yeah, we've also got really quickly before we move on to the next segment, we've got someone that just popped in to our chat, to our panel. So let's give her a moment to say hello with us. If she's ready. Hi, Erica. How are you?
Hi, Jay and Henry. I'm okay. I'm actually freezing cold. Oh, you can tell it's a bit windy. I just got off work, so I just wanted to pop in and say hi. What did I miss? Is it the kickoff chat?
No, we're actually talking about. Actually, you could probably give us an answer here really quickly.
Okay.
Who or what helps you to calm down when things are feeling out of control?
Okay. There's usually 3 people that help me calm down. And funny enough, Jay, they're in different countries, but they always make it a way for me to calm down. But I think if it's what calms me down is laughing. It lights up the mood.
I like that, laughing.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular or anyone in particular that makes you laugh?
So there's a bunch of close people to my heart. But I think like the people that really, because they know me, they've known me for a long time as well. They're literally ates and kuyas. So there are three people specifically that saw me in different stages of life. And so it's more on, sometimes they remind me, this is nothing compared to, like whatever you've experienced back then or whatever. Or they'd be like, oh, it's just something that you can manage. Don't worry about it. It's like, I guess like they know how to calm me down, or they know what to say in that specific moment. So
Yeah.
I love it, because I want to add this. It's more on, sometimes it's like, do you want to be listened? Like, do you want an ear, or do you want a solution, right? But then sometimes when you don't even know how to feel or what you would like to, most of the time they get it right. So that's what I love
Mm.
about it.
I've had someone actually say something similar to me, but they added a third option. Or do you want
Which
a
is,
distraction?
oh,
Distraction,
I love
right?
that.
Right. Do you
Okay,
want a
okay.
distraction? Do you want someone you want to be listened to? Do you want like advice, or do you just want a distraction? Right. And just sometimes you need that. And the thing is, when you've got, like we were mentioning earlier, those close friends, those people that really know you, they just know the right things to say, they're blessings from God too, right? They're someone that's been put there in your
Exactly.
life and helps you get through those situations. So continuing on, right? Since we've talked about the some people or things, people have mentioned about food, right? That helps you to overcome when things are feeling out of control. Let's talk about, like, many of those things changes your perspective, right? It puts you in a state of positive thinking, right? Your mindset changes when you have the right people around you, or when you do the right things to help you navigate uncertainty and chaos. But for you, right, when we're talking about staying calm, being calm in the chaos, how do you change your mindset? Like, what do you do yourself so that you don't get lost when you are faced with uncertainty or a chaotic moment and things are going out of control? What do you do so that you can change your mindset and you don't get lost in it? Before anyone answers, Ohana in our live chat, let us know your thoughts as well. Just want to give a quick shout out to a few more people. We got hello from brother Jaden Ibanez. Is that? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. From the Localavilo district of Hawaii Pacific. Did I say that correctly, Henry? Yes.
That is my
Okay.
cousin. So shout out to my cousin Jaden. Thank you for tuning in.
There you go. And Paul Jacob Veresa is there saying, good evening, happy viewing. Priscilla Batan is also there. That's greeting us. Hello, hello. So thank you for everyone that's tuned in. And let us know, what do you do to change your mindset when you're in a stressful or in a uncontrolled situation, in a chaotic moment of your life, right? How do you change your mindset from one that might be negative to something a little bit more happy? Let's put it that way. But let's hear from our Ohana here on the panel first. Erica, what can you share with
Okay,
us?
this is very timely, Jay. So I can say that if something pops out of nowhere, disrupting your routine or your day, but I
Mm-hmm.
can say, okay, it can shake you a little bit. It's fine. It's natural. But I think one of the things that I've been reminded is it's temporary. So you just have to shake it off and just, like think about the positive. So I'm going to tell you like an example. Yeah. Uh, what should we put? Okay. Either feeling or things. I'm going to pick things, right? Or time. Uh, Time and things. I think I remember like being in a situation where I was so stressed out. And I was like, why is this like stressing me out? Because first of all, um, we already like you already know this, Jay, because I like whenever we talk about it, I always say, for me, personally, okay, money comes and goes. So even if you lose a little bit of money, but then that keeps you, you know, peaceful, like in the situation, you're like, why do you need to stress out? It's like it's like this. Oh, I have an example. So there's like two different airports here in the UK in London that are kind of near us. So there's one where you have to take the train, right? And it's a bit
Right.
longer, and it's cheaper though. It's cheaper. But then there's this one, which is the international one. It's closer to us. It's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right, by car. Or by bus, it's around 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the terminal. And it costs a little bit more. But if you think about it, it's this. Would you rather like be stressed, like with the travel, with like long travels, because you have to take different trains and it costs less? Thinking about, and you have to actually consider this, you're also paying for the ticket for the train as well. So that's added cost, right? And added time. Or would you like to pay a little bit more, right? Pay a little more, but you're going to be home in 45 minutes because the airport is there. And you don't have to, like, it's not a lot of hassle, So there's not a lot of disruptions and stuff. I think, like, this can be, like, one of the examples I can give. So for me, it's like, okay, I'd rather pay a little bit more so I can save time first and stress. And I work out less because with the luggages that are heavy, I just travel less. And so I hold on
I
to
get
my
what you
luggage.
mean.
Yeah.
It's something that's relatable because especially it's like it's a decision between you just want to save money, but you have to do multiple transfers. It's going to take you longer, or would you pay for the convenience of just getting there faster and things like that? And especially when you're traveling with young children, right? The convenience of being less stressed with having to catch another train, another two trains after that, and maybe a bus or something. It's like there's so much stress there already with traveling. So it's definitely something that you can apply in other parts of your life. How about you, Henry? Anything what do you do so that you can change your mindset?
So forward thinking. So I've been through some leadership training classes that pretty much teaches you how to be optimistic. I think sometimes, whether it be the easy way out, we start to blame certain things, and unfortunately, sometimes even blame people, and we can easily get caught in those situations where, oh, that's why it failed because he didn't do this, she didn't do that, and you just keep spiraling down. And so, one of the things that we learn in some of these leadership courses that we've taken is that forward thinking, finding solutions, always thinking forward, not dwelling on the problem, but always saying, what are we going to do now? What can we do to fix this? Always looking for something productive to alleviate the situation, to get you out of that circumstance, to lighten the load, to lighten the chaos, to lighten the burden, to stay calm in the midst of that chaos. Because always need to find a solution. If we add to the problem with negativity, it can be very infectious. Toxicity, being toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic
Yeah.
is very easy to burn other people, and it's like a virus that spreads when you have that negativity and you try to bounce it off to somebody. Sometimes venting may not always be safe with certain people because they're gonna echo that negativity, and you're gonna just bounce back negative, and that doesn't take you anywhere. It just keeps you stuck in that place. It adds to the chaos, really. And so, with forward thinking, with trying to find solutions, and this is me working with, I work with a lot of military folk, and we're always thinking, so what now? What can we do now? This is the situation. This is the circumstance. How do we get out of this situation? So always trying to find a focus to the solution, not the problem. Identify the problem, analyze the problem, but not focus on it. You focus on solutions to circumvent the problem or attack the problem directly. And so to change your mindset in the midst of that chaos, not only do you calm yourself down, but you also remove the problem from the situation. So that's how I changed my mindset.
I love that. Can I add on, like, not really add on to it, onto that, but Henry, I definitely agree because I like from past experiences, I've noticed that there's certain people where they just, you know how you just said optimism, right? So some people or certain people, sometimes they can't shake it off straight away. And so I think that's one of the things that we can learn from one another if we're all optimistic and looking at this like silver lining, or like if it's hard to look for a silver lining, then probably just look at the possible best result that you can have.
Yes,
Yeah,
So I
because
sometimes it
think you
does
sometimes
go
take
on.
time. It does take
it's
time
hard
for that
to
silver
find the
lining.
silver lining, right? Sometimes it's like,
Yes.
where's the silver lining? It happens, but it's like for me, I always try to focus on what you're able to control at the moment, right? Like what is something that you can do, or something that what action you can take, that's within your control, and then just leaving everything else to God, right? That's one of the things that we have, especially as Church of Christ members, is that we put a lot of our trust and our faith in what God and how God leads our life, right? Like we do what we do, we follow what God wants us to do, we live our life in the way that He expects. All of those things, as long as you're doing that, like you leave the rest of the uncontrollable things, all the chaos things, all the things that are unorganized out there that comes into your life that you have no control over, and you just focus on the things that you're able to control. Are you performing your duties? Are you still taking care and being kind? Are you taking care of your family, of your loved ones? Are you still, doing the things that God expects you to do, right? All of that stuff. You focus on just those things and things works out. And I think we've all had our own share of experiences, what we're so grateful for, right? That God is always getting us out of those tough situations. And sometimes we don't even do anything. We just are doing what He expects. And then things just
Yes.
happen to work out, right?
And also
Somebody
when
comes in. Yeah.
oh
Go
sorry
on, go on.
sorry Jay, no, go on. No, because I wanted to just add to what you just said regarding like you know uh controlling what you can do, right?
Yeah.
Because for example, one of the things that I can relate is literally having probably uh having a project, for example, like working on something with somebody, and then you're like, okay, I can't work uh it's like you're micromanaging, which is like one of the things that sometimes people do not appreciate, because you have to like put trust in other people's like knowledge and skills. Sorry, I'm putting like a practical example, but when it comes to what you mentioned, entrusting everything to Almighty God, I definitely agree, because if you think about it, sometimes when we pray about having patience, we are tested through situations to learn patience. It's not like we're just given the quality, but we go through it to learn and gain that quality.
I agree. Like the chaos that we experience, the challenges, the obstacles that comes up, it we're going through that because God is teaching us something, right? We're gaining experience in patience, in trust, in kindness, in so many ways, and those are like learning opportunities. So, just to wrap up our conversation, since we've talked about chaos, we've talked about it's a normal part of life when there are stressful, challenging moments that we encounter, and kind of like what we do to help us to stay grounded, to stay calm in those situations. But as what we just talked about, it's very important that overall we always include God in everything, including the times when we need help, right? Including the times when life feels chaotic, to get that calm. So, how do you do that? That's the final thing that we want to ask everyone, even our Ohana that's tuning in with us and listening in. What's one way that you invite God's peace and guidance into your daily routine, like so that you can include God in your daily routine? Like share something that you do there. Let's hear from Henry first.
So a lot of my peers, friends, they, they call their significant others every day. They call their child who's in college every day. They call their mom or dad every day just to check on how they are, just to get some kind of word of advice, or just to, it's just part of their routine. But question for all of our viewers, everyone here, is: are you praying every day? Do you incorporate God into your life every day through prayer? Um, that's the easiest way to invite God's peace into your life, because the moment you close your eyes and you start to utter your silent prayer to God, You invite him to provide some guidance. You invite him to remind you of what we had learned in worship services. You're leaving what's to come and entrusting all to him. And so it's God's peace entering what is to come for you after your prayer is over. And that you can rely on him because you've relied on him this whole time and he's never let you down. And so, in addition to that, this may not be daily, but in the times that we have worship services, I'm a happy choir member, so I love to sing. And that's where I find peace in the words that we say as we sing these hymns that can speak into a prayer in itself that maybe we just never knew how to say. But it can only come out through songs of praises, which we practice, and Erica knows this, we practice so long. And on the day of the actual special gathering, worship service, especially for all those Iglesia Ni Cristo members around the world who are about to have their year-end Thanksgiving and offer praise to God, you're offering to him so much thanksgiving and praying so hard that in the upcoming year, every day he will be with us in the year 2026. And so if to invite God's peace into our daily routine and into the upcoming year, be thankful. This is the time to be thankful, to offer thanksgiving. And if we continue to meet the condition of what he expects us to do, then we can be assured that we'll have his peace in the middle of all this chaos.
Yeah, it's true. Like we have to invite it, right? We have to invite God's peace. We invite it into our lives, and you got to be part of your routine. I love the hymns that we have as well, right? In our worship services, because I'm the type of person that can't put my thoughts and emotions and frustrations into words, but the hymns really, they're amazing in terms of helping people like me, I guess, be able to put into words what I'm feeling and kind of like supplicating and basically calling out to God for help, like through hymns, through the hymn singing. So it's one of like the most peaceful times that we have, especially when through all the challenges and obstacles that comes in our life, right? Those moments in our worship services, being there, being able to meditate, being able to pray, but also being there as part of the hymn singing, it's definitely one of the ways that everything just gets lighter, right? And you haven't even heard the lesson yet, right? But everything already starts to feel lighter because of the hymns that we sing. Erica, love to hear your daily routine to inviting God.
The thing is that Henry already said it all, because as he mentioned, I can relate since I'm a choir member as well, an organist. And so, sorry, wait a second. Let me just. Okay. This is the first time you see me like this long in the show because I'm walking. I'm going to some school. Anyways, first of all, for me personally, it's praying. You know, it takes you just a couple of minutes or even seconds, like, to just go in a quiet place and talk to our Almighty God. Like anywhere, you know what I mean? Like wherever you are, pretty much. And that's how I keep myself, like, when we're talking about chaos, right? Amidst chaos, one of the things I'm gonna share this experience. One of the things I remember was when my dad was in the hospital, and I was at work because I was the manager, and like I was the only one working in my family back then, and so like everything was very hectic. You can tell like I had a lot of worries in my mind and things. You know what I did? I was at work, but one of the things I literally did that was just go in a quiet place, and then I knelt down and prayed. And even though it wasn't even like it was more on, Kuya, when you said frustration and when you're bored and stuff, I just cried. And as much as I couldn't say the words, I knew God was listening.
It's like coming from the heart, right? Like sometimes words are not required, right? It's like God already knows. You just need to be there and pray, and it's like he already knows what's in your heart. So it's really one of those places where, especially when you need strength, you need hope, right? You need guidance, you need peace, right? It's the one place that the one thing that we can always turn to, that's always there in our arsenal to be able to find the peace and find the things that we need, is prayer, right? Prayer and that connection that we have with our Almighty God. And, that comes in line with everything in terms of doing the things that He expects and that pleases Him. But with that, that God's always by your side. And I think you can face anything with peace, with calm, with kindness, as long as you know that God is there by your side. And yeah, that's pretty much our conversation here about our calm in the chaos. Let me just quickly read, because we've got a few comments there in our live chat. So just as we wrap up, just remember that when it comes to God's words, it teaches us that true peace comes from our Almighty God. When we choose prayer over panic and faith over fear, we invite God's calm into our chaos. With His peace in our hearts, we can face stress with patience, hope, and strength. And with that, we hope that you've taken something away to help you through the rest of your year, and especially in the new year to come and all the uncertainties that's to follow. We know that we need our Almighty God always in our lives. So hopefully you've taken something away from what we've shared today in our broadcast. Henry, if you want to go ahead and read any final comments there in our live chat.
Yes, so we have a viewer from Hawaii Pacific, one of the originals, Delmar. Aloha, everyone. Greetings from locale of Wailuku, District of Hawaii Pacific. Glad to see you here, bro. And just to answer the question from my wife, Rachel Inocencio says, before my work shift and when arriving safely, I pray for God's guidance. And Kuya just pretty much agrees with us that it's true. There's no place where we feel more loved and accepted and secure than in the presence of God's love in our worship services. And now as we transition to our verse of the week, God's words are timeless. And this message, although it came from the 109th anniversary of the church, we are currently celebrating and living in the 111th anniversary of the Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ. God's words are timeless, and we are always reminded to always be thankful, especially at this time of the year. So we will now listen to the verse of the week, giving thanks to God for everything.
So maybe Kuya Pong is just getting the video, the verse of the week, ready for us. So again, Kuya Pong, if when you're ready, just let us know. But yeah, this is a great reminder that we have. So let's go ahead and play that video again, that verse of the week, giving thanks to God for everything.
Church of Christ members all over the world are gathering in houses of worship for a special Thanksgiving worship service. Well, to give thanks to God for everything He has done for the church over the past 109 years. We conduct evangelical missions. We broadcast the many humanitarian works being done to help our fellow man in so many ways. But why share what we believe and what we do with the world? By all means possible. I'm Bob Pauline. And in this week's verse of the week, I share with you the words of God recorded in Isaiah chapter 41, verse 20, which tells us one of the reasons why we share. That they may see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of the Lord has done this, and the Holy One of Israel has created it. So you see, God is doing great works in our time, all over the world, works that may have seemed impossible. But we may see how many in this world reject God and His ways, and therefore thrust much of society into chaos. But we, instead, will gather and thank God for all of the blessings and wonders He performs in the life of the Church of Christ. He truly wants you all to know, consider, and understand together that the hand of the Lord has done this. So, if you're not already a member of the Church of Christ, and you want to see for yourself the wonderful works that God has done for His people, visit us at incmedia.org. There you can see for yourself. And we invite you to come and join us and be part of the great and wonderful mission of God in these last days. Stay safe, stay strong, stay faithful. God bless.
And timely message from Brother Bob Peline, as members of the Church of Christ around the world will end the year 2025 by offering thanksgiving to Him. Special worship services in every ecclesiastical district. So thank you to Brother Bob for that inspiring message to take with us for the week ahead. And just wanted to do a quick plug for our episode this Thursday, as Brother Philip Velasquez will be joining us as a panelist in the episode Truth in Thoughts and Action. So for the rest of the week on Faith and Melody, please tune in, same time, especially for this Thursday with Philip. He'll be with us speaking on that topic. So we'd like to say thank you to everyone who is here, but let's do our shout outs first. Erica, who would you like to shout out?
I'd like to shout out my brothers. They're actually currently with me. So we have Samsam and Dandan. That's why I was walking so fast and for long, because Samsam's previous school and it's Dandan's current school is actually close to my work, and so I went to visit them actually because Samsam has a nomination for an event for his school, so he's been awarded something, which is supporting him here. And shout out to the rest of the family who are not currently with us. And of course, shout out to the Ohana here on Faith and Melody. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations to Samsam. And as well, I just want to say thank you to Erica for joining us, and I guess for Samsam and Dandan that's just popping in there. Thank you to Henry as well. And of course, shout out to all of our Ohana, our viewers that support the show there in our live chat. And a special shout out to Jem and to our daughter, Lena. Over to you, Henry.
Shout out to my wife and children, as always, are just on the other side of this wall, always supporting us in Faith and Melody. Always shout out to my Hawaii Pacific family for popping in. I love it that even though they're 11 hours away, they still make time to tune in. And of course, to my Central Europe family who make it a part of their Monday dinner routine to listen to Faith and Melody every Monday. So shout out to everyone. Shout out to Erica in the middle of that cold to be able to still come in and be part of our discussion. So it was a great show. Thank you to all of our viewers. Please continue to tune in for the rest of this week on Faith and Melody. And I am Henry here in Germany.
And this is Jay here in Australia. And we have been your hosts for today. We hope today's episode has given you a positive start for your week ahead. To close up our show, we'll be listening to Lakas Ko sa Kahinaan. Join us again for the rest of the week here on Faith and Melody. Until then, take care, everyone. Have a great start to your week. Bye for now.
Aloha.
Take care. Thank you, Kuya Paul.
Sa tuwing ako ay nalulumbay sa mundo kung saan ako'y naglalakbay, ikaw lamang ang laging kaakbay. At sa tuwi na ay nagsisilbing gabahay, hindi mo pinababayaan, palaging inaalalayan. O Ama, Ikaw ang pag-ibig na di matutumbasan. Tanging sa'yo ko lamang matatagpuan, at ang biyaya mong walang hanggan. Nasa tuwin ay aking nakakamtahan, ako'y di mo pinabayaan. Palaging inaalalayan, o Ama, ikaw ang kasama sa lungkot at kahirapan, lakas ko sa kahinaan. O Ama, pag-aalapin pa ang pag-ibig at pag-asa at pananampalataya. O Ama, ikaw ang kasama sa lungkot at kahirapan, lakas ko sa kahinaan. Pag-aalapin pa ang pag-ibig at pag-asa at pananampalataya. O Ama, ikaw ang kasama sa lungkot at kahirapan, lakas ko sa kahinaan. O Ama, pag-aalapin pa ang pag-ibig at pag-asa at pananampalataya. O Ama.
In today's world, not everything we see or hear is real. And sometimes, we do find ourselves telling a little lie, a fib, an excuse. We think it's okay because it's trivial, right? And no one is getting hurt. But is that really the case? Let's talk about truth in thoughts and actions with Brother Philip Velasquez, a minister of the gospel. Tune in to INCRadio Faith and Melody on YouTube, December 18, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. British Standard Time, or December 19, 12 a.m. Philippines. Actions are born from thoughts. Think right, act right, and that is the truth.